next game we're going to add to the long list of notable indie games is going to be Spelunky, which, following The Binding of Isaac, is quite interesting because they're both games that sort of fit certain similar parameters. Spelunky is a game where you are basically after treasure, is the main thing, and you do this by going through separate worlds. I call them worlds because it is a very similar structure to Super Mario Bros. So you have each section is split into 4 levels, all of which are procedurally generated, and generated extremely well. And you have to get from the top of the level to the bottom of the level. You are spelunking for treasure, and the process of doing this is traversing using a couple of tools over various enemies and traps. As I said, one of the main things you should be aiming for is, or one of the main aims of the game is the sort of gold count and going out there and building up as much money as you can. You then traverse through the levels and you can come to shopkeepers where you can spend this hard-earned cash. One of the notable things that I do want to talk about in this game is how the mechanics interact with each other. When I say the mechanics, I mean the different objects within the world, so the enemies and the traps. What you'll find is so a trap which can be triggered by yourself can be triggered by an enemy, and this leads to all sorts of chaos erupting in the world. So it has this flow state of approaching each thing very slowly and looking at how you're going to traverse through it. But then as soon as you start traversing, things can just sort of interact with each other in different ways, and you can go from being on quite a good run, being on decent health, to suddenly dropping to no health and losing. But then you've learnt a bit from that, and you sort of know that, okay, these things might interact with this next time in a certain way, so how can I approach this a bit differently that's going to leave me in a better position? Another few things in the level are there are damsels which take one of 3 models. They either take a woman, a guy, or a dog, which is a pug. And a little note, you can have in your option settings, you can have it set to either one of them, or you can have it set on random, and I did quite enjoy setting it on random. To me, there's 2 choices: you set it on random or you set it on the pug. And when you rescue this object, it takes up your hand space, but if you take it to this object, this other AI, when you take it to the end of the level, it gives you another health, which is quite important in this game. I suppose the only other things are that if you stay in each of these levels for too long, the ghost appears, and the ghost is an instant death touch. But there is another little mechanic. There's a lot of gems scattered out through the level, and if the ghost traverses over these, they become white gems, and these have inherently a lot more value. I suppose the next thing I'd like to talk about is, again, similar to The Binding of Isaac, I watched a lot of this game on YouTube before I actually played it. Whereas what was different with The Binding of Isaac, because I think it has a lot more items and a lot more combinations in that respect, whereas Spelunky has a lot fewer items and a lot more less tools at your disposal. This leads there still to be, for me, and I'm talking very personally here, in The Binding of Isaac there was still a lot to discover and a lot of interactions, whereas in Spelunky I sort of knew everything that was available to myself as a tool. And I'm not saying that made my gameplay much better, but I had the knowledge base. I just didn't have the skill base for Spelunky, so what I was learning as I was playing was the skill base to progress through these levels. Whereas in Isaac, the skill base was a lot more easily attainable. But the fun of it were the objects interacting with each other in mad ways. So, having watched a lot of it on YouTube, both of these things comparably, it left me actually in the worst position with Spelunky. I didn't want to play it as much as I wanted to play Isaac. I have to say, Spelunky filled the same time slot as Isaac. I was actually playing it at the same time, and that's why I'm drawing such comparisons between the two, because I don't think they're necessarily that comparable, and people will like either one of them for their own reasons, but because I was playing them at similar times, it led me to draw these comparisons. And it filled that slot of getting back from work and playing 1 or 2 sittings of it. depending on how quickly I died, to be honest. And I never felt relaxed in Spelunky, which some people may like, but I never felt like I was learning or progressing at a particular rate as I did in Isaac. And it's weird, because progression is such a weird thing that's come into a lot more games, with every game being an RPG of some sort, every game having a skill tree, every game having some form of progression. I think we get hardwired to want to progress through games, whereas actually sometimes the fun of it is finding that progression through other things. But I did leave me feeling a little less hot on Spelunky, not enjoying it as much, because I've already seen and can already put together what a perfect run is in my mind. And that perfect run is often just playing the game very, very well. And the shopkeepers as well, if you kill them, they basically label you a terrorist, and every shopkeeper becomes hostile to you within the game. But that also means you can loot them once you've killed them, but they are insanely hard. But there are certain ways you can kill them perfectly. So in higher level play, it is about learning tricks like that. It's about learning tricks like the ghost and ghosting the diamonds, and that's how you get the most sort of income from it. Whereas I didn't find that appealing, learning that high level play. Whereas I think if I came in a position of coming in fresh, learning these things as I went along would have been a lot more enjoyable. Now, I never want to sort of say that watching a game on YouTube or watching gameplay footage from various people is nullifying the game, because I don't think that is true, and there are many games I've watched and gone, hey, I need to go and buy this game right now. And Isaac is a perfect example. I watched a lot of that, and I was just like, no, I can't wait to play this. And Spelunky was actually the same, and I bought the game, but it did leave me in a weird position of not enjoying it as much. I don't think there's too much else to say on it, apart from the fact that this game does have a real inherent difficulty, but it does feel fair. It does feel like, okay, I died here, but I died because I was going too quickly. And I think this game is out there for the people that do want to try and play a game very well and learn the skill level of it. Gain skill within a game that's going to make them better at playing it and sort of progress in that way. Whereas the game, I do want that from games, but the game slot that this filled for me, that's not the type of game I wanted here. I wanted a game that's more of a relaxation, more of okay, I'm going to zone out for half an hour, 40 minutes, and then chill out, and then okay, I can do things again, And I think that sort of time period is important in the daily routine, if you can try and have it at some point. For me personally, Spelunky wasn't that enjoyable experience, but I can still stand back and appreciate it from a different position and still think it is a very good game. And I think it's important to understand when games aren't for you, but you can still hold them highly on their merits and still say the things you don't actually personally like about the game. And honestly, I like a lot of this game. I just didn't feel right for me. I think that'll be all I say on Spelunky, and I do look forward to the next sort of roguelike game that I play, which I don't know what it's going to be, and I look forward to trying to fill that game in slot. And for me at the moment, it's Diablo 3. It's sit down, play an hour of that, and I'm ready to get on and do things. That's all I'll say on Spelunky for now. But I do think this game is still worth playing if you get a chance, and I think this game is if it interests you. And if you have personal interest, it's worth playing. But if you don't, and you don't think it's for yourself, then, that's fine. That's what games are for. That's why we have fucking hundreds of thousands of the fuckers. Bye.